previous ones? A lot of you, yes. Kind of thought that would be the case. So we welcome you again today. Our very special group today is the Allegheny Brass. And I have to tell you personally, a good friend of mine, Laura Sabo, whom I haven't seen in quite a long time, is here today, so we had a chance to have a nice hug today. So that was great. I'm looking forward to telling you a little bit about the Bethel Park Community Foundation in a little while, but I would just let you know that this is the Bethel Park Community Foundation's 13th year to be supporting the Tower Concert Series, and we're glad so many of you could be with us today. So, see you back. Okay, he's ready to go.
Well, good afternoon, Bethel Park. We are the Allegheny Brass Band, and my name is Steve Paul Dancy, and I'm the conductor this evening, or this afternoon, I should say. How many people for the first time listening to the group? How many have been here many times before? Oh, okay, so I can't say the same jokes, I guess. But anyway, well, thanks for coming back and supporting the group. This is great. This summer, as you can see by your programs, we're celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Beatles on the Unselfish show. How many people remember that? Oh, yes. Those bad Beatles changed music in America, didn't they, when they came over? but we're still celebrating them, and they really made a difference in the way rock music happened in the 60s and 70s. So our first selection we're going to do that Paul wrote, he wrote in one day, but it took him a couple of months to come up with lyrics. So he was using the term scrambled eggs for a while, and then he turned it into Yesterday. So here is a featuring our cornet section, the Beatles' Yesterday. Our next piece was written by American composer Irving Berlin. How many remember his music? Right? We all know what? White Christmas and God Bless America. Well, he wrote this next piece in 1935 for the movie Top Hat, starring Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. Wow, you guys are awesome. Really is. Chief. He was also nominated for the 1936 song for the Academy Awards, but it didn't win. But that's okay. So here's Irving Berlin's Chief to Chief. All right, I get to see Fred and Ginger dancing around with that one. Well, we're going to do another American composer, one of my favorites, Mr. George Gershwin. And you guys are probably familiar with his music. He wrote classical, Broadway, and even an opera. And I guess we're familiar with Rhapsody in Blue. And then he wrote that American in Paris, and they made a movie with starring Gene Kelly. And we're going to do a few of his famous melodies from shows and operas and movies. So this is called Gershwin for Brass. Mr. George Gershon. Another one who died very young. I think he was in his late 30s, and he had so much music more to write for us. Well, we're going to continue on with our Beatles. Our next tune is kind of a neat arrangement. It's called Ticket to Ride. It was on the Beatles' Help album. But it's the way the arrangement is, it starts out like a train starting up, and then you go full speed, and then it comes back to the station, and it slows down at the end. So here is the Beatles' Ticket to Ride. Yes, it is a unique arrangement. I love it. We love playing it. It's a really neat one. All right, so we play many different styles of music, as you can see on the program, and it wouldn't be right if we don't play March for you right now. So we're going to play John Philip Sousa's The Washington Post. We're going to move back to the 1940s, the big band era. We're going to do a few selections of the great band leaders. Remember Tommy and Jimmy Dorsey? All right, what did Tommy play? Trombone. What did Jimmy play? Saxophone, clarinet. All right, good. Count Basie, what did he play? Piano. How about Duke Ellington? Piano. You guys are really good. 4 for 4. Let me see. All right, Gene Krupa. Louis Bellson. Okay, who was Louis Bellson married to? Who? Pearl Bailey, right? She was in Hello Dolly too, right? Let's see. Howard James. Benny Goodman. Audrey Shaw. Clarinet, right? Wow. I gotta stump you. Charlie Spivak. I don't even know what he played. Okay. I think he was trumpet. All right, well, we're going to do something that the Three Sisters did. Who are the Three Sisters? Andrew Sisters, all right. Well, we're going to do Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy Company D. All right, we're going to continue in that same vein. Another great band leader and composer that died very early in his life, and that's the great Glenn Miller. So we're going to do a medley of his great songs. Little Brown Jug, Moonlight Serenade, which was his theme song, The Great String of Pearls, and the St. Louis March. Here is Miller's Magic. Very good, very much. On my travels this summer, my wife and I, we traveled back to Gettysburg. We took the kids when they were Boy Scouts and we camped out. We did that many years ago, but then we decided to go back this year because of the new museum that they have there. It's if you haven't get a chance to go back out there, or if you've ever been out there, it's a really neat experience. And the museum's gorgeous. They have an Omni-Mac theater that shows about the battle. We went out during July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. We didn't realize that was the actual battle date, July 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. They have this really neat thing that you can buy a CD for your car, and it's an auto tour where you can travel through Gettysburg at all the monuments and things, and explains everything. So it's a really neat thing. It's a nice 2 or 3 days vacation if you get a chance to do that. And the reason why I'm talking about that, we're going to close our first half with an American Civil War fantasy, which has great melodies that were played during that time period of the Civil War. So you'll hear Battle of the Republic, Dixie, and so forth. So we're going to close our first half with the American Civil War fantasy.
My love of books goes way, way back, and that's why working here at the Bethel Park Library is such a perfect fit for me. I remember fond memories of my childhood, reading to my younger sister some of our favorite books like The Pokey Little Puppy or Mickey Mouse's Picnic. As part of our bedtime routine, we would be on our bed, before we fell asleep, reading chapter books together, and all taking turns sharing chapters from Little House on the Prairie or Anne of Green Gables. As we got older and we were able to read it on our own, we would still read aloud together, and we would share chapters. We'd take turns, we'd pass the book around. I stress that to families today, the importance of reading aloud and sharing books as a family, because not only does it create those wonderful memories that you always have, but it's so very fundamental to the reading process and to the learning process. Picture books have always been my favorite, so again, working here at the library is just wonderful, and it's the perfect fit because now I get to share those happy memories, and I get to share the awesome picture books with kids. And kids of all ages. I love doing shows on BPTV such as Book Nook because again, I'm sharing my love of books with kids at home and hopefully encouraging them to come in and then check those books out. And it does work. I've seen it happen. I love when kids run in here, the next morning and say, I just watched you on TV last night. Or when a parent is with that child saying, hey, we're here to check out that book that you read on the last Book Nook show. That's great. That's how we know it's working and our purpose behind the show is being fulfilled. It's also especially rewarding to me to hear of not only people watching it and viewing it with their kids in their homes, but maybe also using it in their classrooms. I have a lot of friends who are teachers, and we've connected again via Facebook, and a lot of these teachers are telling me that they're airing Book Nook in their classrooms and sharing it with their young students. So that's especially rewarding to me. Patrons who I've become very close with, friends with, who have moved away, and they were sad that they were no longer going to be able to tune in to check it out, but lo and behold, now they can because, again, the BPTV staff is so wonderful, and they upload our episodes to YouTube as well. So now she watches them on the web with her children in Kentucky or wherever it might be. So it is very, very rewarding. We're not only sharing these stories, these special books with kids here in Bethel Park, but we're sharing them with kids across the United States. My name is Elaine Volpe, Head of Youth Services at the Bethel Park Public Library and producer of Missy Lane's Book Nook on BPTV.
Okay, that was a little Fanfare Flourish by the composer James Kernan. So we're going to mix things up a little bit, and we're going to go back to the 1970s. And you probably know this name, Randy Newman, especially if you've sat and watched some Disney movies with your children or grandchildren. And he wrote the music to the Toy Story songs, or the Toy Story movies. But in the 70s, he was kind of a rock composer and lyricist. And the next piece is kind of like my theme song, because it's called Short People. And he kind of makes fun of short people, and they really shouldn't be allowed to be around. So here is Randy Newman's Short People. Beatles tune, and this was on the 1968 Rubber Soul album. This is the tune Michelle My Bed. Beatles movie show. Okay, at this point in the concert, the Alligator Brass Band always likes to bring somebody up to conduct the band, to put them on the spot and embarrass them as much as we can. So we bring Diane up, okay, and she's going to conduct a group. We're not going to embarrass her. No. John Philip Sousa. Jim, I knew you shouldn't have printed those programs. Okay. Well, at this point, we live in a crazy time right now. We turn on the news, and it's nuts what's going on all over the world. So at this point, the Allegheny Brass Band would like to recognize the men and women that are serving our country right now, and for you who have served our country in your youth. So we're going to play what's called the Armed Forces Salute. So when you hear your service song, please either, if you can, stand to be recognized, or just raise your hand. And it starts out with the Army. All right, well, it's coming that time to the end of our program, and we have one more tune for you. We're going to do The Beatles' Hey Jude. And Paul wrote this at for John Lennon's son Julian. Julian was having a rough time when John was going through his divorce, and Yoko Ono came about. And so Paul decided to write this tune, Julian Hay Jude.
grew up in a sports family. From a very young age, I was exposed to sports in a great way. My uncle was on the first pro basketball team in Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Ironmen. My cousins played baseball in the Army. I got to see them pitch at Fort Knox in Louisville, Kentucky. And my dad, of course, that was my hero. He was a basketball referee for over 30 years. Met a lot of great people. Have any of you ever heard of George Couples? He was a man who used to call our house and schedule my dad for City League basketball games. Just been a passion in my life. And as I got older, I found out about horses, and I ended up owning a stable. And I was asked to be on a sports show with Roger Houston called the Meadows Racing Network. Watching Roger Houston direct and even produce this show. And when we were done, I said, boy, that'd be something great. Maybe someday I could have a TV show. Back in 2011, I had a conversation with some friends about sports that piqued my interest in how could we start a sports talk show on TV. Well, I found out I could go to public access TV in Bethel Park and I'd be able to produce my own sports talk TV show. The great thing about doing 2 sports talk shows on BPTV is I can share my passion about sports with thousands of people every week. If you are passionate about something that you would like to share with the community, I encourage you to come to BPTV and produce a show like I do. I'm Al Levine, volunteer producer of Pittsburgh Sportsline on BPTV.
My work over the past decade with college graduates exposed 2 troubling patterns. First of all, too many of the applicants that were seeking a degree were simply unprepared. And secondly, too many of the college graduates, once they finished, simply lacked the skill set that employers were looking for. In addition, many of the college graduates now are just drowning in unprecedented levels of school debt. The school debt has reached the $1 trillion mark, which is now second only to home mortgage debt. This perfect storm, if you will, of rising school debt and the skill disconnect between graduates and employers was the motivation for my book, Joe Barista, PhD, which highlights the state of American education in the 21st century. It chronicles the educational struggle and journey of a young man who grew up deep in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, only to find himself an overeducated, experience-deficient graduate who was saddled with a mountain of school debt and no viable job prospects. I also realized through this time working with college graduates that many of these issues could be avoided if we could simply start the career development conversation at the secondary school level. This led to the creation of the TV program, Your Future, Your Choice. You know, there's an old adage, think global and act local. Well, local for me is BPTV. The process was surprisingly simple. I came in and pitched my idea to BPTV, and once accepted, we were off to the races. David Cable and his staff are professional, accommodating, and creative. I literally tell them what I want, and they make it happen. I'm Emmanuel Romanis, Principal Consultant at Forward 21 Career Consulting, and the creator and host of Your Future, Your Choice on BPTV.
I always loved movies, and back in my days at Duquesne University, the editor of the paper at that time recommended that I go ahead and do film reviews for the newspaper. And that's really how this whole thing started. That was all the way back in, oh Lord, 1973, I believe it was. I noticed that my perspective on films, and so did he, noticed that my perspective on films was very different. It was probably about 12 years ago that I was contacted by Joey Berlin from Hollywood, and he asked me to be a part of the Broadcast Film Critics Association, a new organization that they were heading up there on the West Coast. And readily agreed. And of course, they produce every year the Critics' Choice Award. Over the years, I took my movie reviews to various newspaper concerns and even radio. And a lot of times, the items that I would say about a movie ran into conflict with maybe some of the advertisers or some of the people getting a little upset and not liking what I said. So as a result, there was some censorship going on my reviews, and I became a little bit frustrated with that. So I opened my eyes and I started looking for a venue which would allow me to do my movie reviews without having to worry about being censored from somebody up above. And that brought me through the doors here at BPTV. Because of the really fine experiences I've had here at BPTV in producing Outtakes, I decided to spread my wings a little bit and delve into some of my other interests. I've always been a very huge hockey fan. So I started doing play-by-play hockey announcing for some of the local teams, especially the Bethel Park Blackhawks here on BPTV, and had a great time doing that. Must have done that for about 10 or 12 years as well. And I also started a hockey talk show called In the Crease, which I'm happy to say was the first all-sports talk show devoted completely to hockey here in the tri-state area. I also have pretty good skills at interviewing, and because of that, I began a show called Coffee and Chaos, which tries to find rather unique individuals in the community and at large and do an in-depth interview with them as well. I've had a great time here at BPTV. There have been a plethora of people that have come through the door, interns and people who just volunteer here, and every one of them has a passion for TV, and I enjoy seeing that passion. So if you have an idea, a creative aspect, or an opinion that is unique to you, and you're looking for a place to express it, there's no better place than Public Access TV, BP TV. I found a home here. Probably you can too. I'm Fiore Mastracci, host and producer of Outtakes, and a list of other shows too.